All right, everybody. Thank you. The Crypt Keepers bring us in, and I thank you all for joining us. I got a great show tonight. Very, very, very excited for my guest tonight. But before I do that, I do have to say something to the audience very quickly, and I won't keep my guest waiting. I am embarrassed, and I'd like to apologize to you guys. Apparently, I reacted to someone who wasn't very kind. Um, I guess I got mad because, like, they were saying, um, and we're talking about someone who doesn't have more than like 5,000, you know, um, views on any of their things. Where we're a new channel and we're growing, and some that we did like a week or two ago already have double that, and we're learning as we go. And you know, it's the people that are upset with their own career and what they haven't done. It's easy to pick on other people. So I want to say to you guys that I'm sorry for reacting. I should have never, ever even acknowledged that someone was saying, things that were not true or whatever. I mean, it's like in my world, it just doesn't matter. It's like some like 10-year-old going up to Michael Jordan. No, that's not a good example because that would be like I'd be Michael Jordan. But in this case, compared to me and this guy, yeah, I would be Michael Jordan. Talking about like someone who's dribbled a basketball or maybe made a free throw compared to someone who's like, yeah, maybe one day I'm gonna make a free throw. Maybe I'll play basketball. So that's all I'm gonna say. And I apologize to you, the audience, for me reacting. That's not what I do. I'm a nice guy. That's not my deal. I don't like bullies. Actually, I hate bullies. And I hate when people try and put other people down to make themselves feel better, to compensate for some lack of something or whatever. And, I'm the guy that's like, all right, does this guy need to be made an example of? And then I'm just going to not pay attention to any of it. And for you guys to get caught up in it, because you don't come here for me to speak nonsense about stuff like that. So I want to apologize to you. I'm ashamed and I'm embarrassed on how I acted. So please forgive me and let's go. All right. Can we put it behind us? Thank you. Guys, my next guest is an amazing talent. Not only is he an amazing lawyer, but the guy is funny, he's creative, and you've got to see some of the stuff that he's done on the internet. Guy is just he's got great ideas. Nice guy. He's got a good bench too. Guys, it's Vince the lawyer.
Wow, the onion is making fun of me. Wow.
Yeah. I fell into the trap. It happens. Look, I'm not perfect. Nobody is. So I just wanted to say that out the front. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. So before we spoke about the show that you went on complaining about the fat onion, you told me that you never let anyone get the best of you. You never get upset when someone says something wrong. And then I tune in literally 10 minutes later, I tune into your show and you're talking about someone. And the way you were talking, I was getting scared. I thought you were talking about me because I
Oh
had
no.
spoken about you and what you were doing backstage at the Shuley show. So I was physically getting scared. And then luckily I rewound and I said that I found that you were talking about some fat onion guy. I was like, thank God it wasn't me.
No, Vince, if I had a problem with it, I would have called you and we would have talked it out like gentlemen. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry that that whole thing happened, but it's behind us because we got a lot of cool things going ahead of us, man. So um, lots of stuff to talk about here, and yeah, I did say that, and I made a mistake. I mean, when's the last time you made a mistake?
Probably about 10 minutes ago when I was yelling at my wife. But
Oh
don't
no.
say don't say you made a mistake. I went through what the fat onion said. And I'm going to say that 95% of what he was saying was actually accurate.
Well, I don't even care, Vince. I don't care because I just not interested.
Well, you should care because he was giving critiques about your show,
Don't care. Not
which
not from him. Until you've become like, until you've done something. Look, you guys, I don't want to talk about him.
yeah,
Good for
but
him. I hope he does well.
you say you don't want to talk about him, but he spent a whole half or 5 minutes of your show where I was shitting in my pants. I'm like, shit, I hope he's not talking about me.
No, Vince, I wouldn't say that about you. No.
That's
You,
okay if
you,
he did. But then he did about an hour and a half critique on your show, which you should
good for
watch.
him.
No, you should watch it because
Don't
90,
I don't want to, Vince. I don't even want to. It's not on my radar. It's like, what do they say? It's punching down.
it
Is
doesn't
that
matter. I listened to it. So I took the time while I was on the treadmill to listen to what he said. It was
okay?
about an hour and a half, and he critiques what you're doing. And I will say again, 95% of what
Okay,
he's
that's good.
saying
Now
is that. Are you going to
Vince, you
let
can
me
talk to
finish
him
or are you
about
just going
that.
to talk over me?
I'm going to talk over you because I told you I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I want to talk about it. 95% is accurate. If you want to better your
Vince,
channel,
listen.
better your show, then
Okay, good. That's how
listen to
you
the Fat
feel.
Onion.
That's how you feel. Good. That's fine. We can agree to disagree. Okay. But I'm not going to take part in it. So thank you for, at least I think you had the best intention, but I don't want to talk about it. So, you know, that's we're at a standstill. So let's move on.
Okay.
All right, cool, man. So Vince is a Long Islander like myself, and I bet you didn't know. One of the bits I wanted to do was things you didn't know about Vince. Did you guys know Vince was a gym rat? How long you been a gym rat, Mister Vince?
Only for the past 4 years.
And what made you get into fitness? Because I mean, if you haven't seen Vince lately, the guy's got he's got a pretty, he's thick. He's thick upper body. He's strong, and he was an athlete. He is an athlete. So what made you get back into hanging and banging and throwing the weights around?
This is a crazy story, but I used to own a law office that I would rent some spaces to. And this wiry little Jewish kid came in and he was crazy, but he threw a piece of paper in my face and he was mad about his rent. And I really wasn't involved in that, but I had a video camera going just in case like people would do shit. And
Uh,
he said to me, "You're fat." The one thing that like he said all this shit, he's like, "You're a fag, you're this, you're that, and you're fat." And I looked at the camera and he was right. So I'm like, I need to get back to the gym. So I went back to the gym. I started just running and then I got bored and then I started back with the bench press. So Casey and I both played football in college. And what they do is they test you on the 225-pound bench press. And when I first did it, I couldn't do one, not
I
one.
love this story, Vince. This is
Yeah.
such an
So
inspirational story.
in front of the entire team, they break down the bench. They go back to 185. I couldn't do one at 185. So they went down to 135. And I did like maybe 8 or 9 at the
That's just
time.
one plate on each side, guys.
Exactly. And it didn't mean much to me because I was defensive back. And a lot of defensive backs and free safeties aren't necessarily so strong on the bench press. And
Vince couldn't cover man. That's why they put him back at free safety.
it's true. But bottom line is at 41, I started to bench press again. Maybe psychologically because of that issue, but I wasn't embarrassed about that issue. I didn't care because just because you can bench 20 times, like 225, 20 times, like Casey said, you can, doesn't mean you can play football. So in the end, I started back at bench press and yes, I built it up to about 320, 330 pounds right now. And Casey's impressed by that.
Yeah, I am
Yeah,
big time because that's almost like that's like almost half
double.
60%.
Double. See the onion. Now, if you listen to Fat Onion, he's making fun of you because he doesn't. He's making fun of his audience because they don't use predicates in their chat. And I wonder, does Casey know what a predicate is?
A predicate. A predicate is something that comes before a sentence.
Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, I didn't know. I had to go look it up, but you're right. It's something that comes before a sentence. So,
Wow, what a genius thing to say. Is that just there's never mind. Go ahead.
no, that's smart because I didn't even know what it was. So I had to go Google what a predicate was, and I forgot like subject and predicate in a sentence. No big deal. But I'm like, who is this guy that's making fun of KC? Because although I agree with what he was saying, I also disagree with the approach he's taking. Because I text this to Shuli and Carl. I said, look, who is the guy that's making fun of KC? Because I want to chop it up and make it seem like he's being really mean to KC. But then I listened to it, and he was just being mean to Casey. I could just play it, and I don't know if you told anyone, but we're about to launch our new series. Episode 1 with KC is going to be just focused around when Casey finally hooks up with a guy. Okay, so that's something that
Well,
Casey had it.
that's not the entire. Uh, that's not the entire series. That happens to be episode 1.
Sure, absolutely. I just said episode 1 is going to focus around, and there's going to be one, I think, and 1 and 2 are going to go into when you finally hook up with a guy. And it's ironic because you've always been accused of being gay. I know you're not gay, but this guy happened to trick you into hooking up with you.
He's
And
talking about when I went to Alaska and I made out with a tranny.
well, he made out with a guy. And the one thing about Alaska, how come you
He's right. I can't argue with him. What he's saying is true.
I listened to it very closely. He hung out with this guy. He was an Asian guy a few times. Casey went to Alaska for chasing a girl, ironically.
Yeah.
How come you had to spend 10 days in jail there?
Because Vince, nobody told me that I see I don't know anyone's landline by heart, and I don't know anyone who can take a collect call. So I couldn't reach anybody. Nobody knew where I was. And every time I tried to use the phone, I couldn't because I didn't know anyone's number. So I'm just sitting here, and nobody ever told me, Vince, that, hey, you can have, I'm like, well, when I get out of here, I'm going to get a lawyer. And no one told me that, hey, there's a thing called a public defender. They can come in and they can do all this stuff and get you in touch with somebody. Nobody told me that, Vince. So I sat there wasting away, withdrawing from all types of medications that I needed, and it was the worst 10 days of my life, bud.
So let's go back to a girl breaks up with you, but why does she
No,
go
she
to?
didn't break up with me. No,
Okay, well, then tell us why you went to Alaska.
This was the woman that I thought, that one. Well, you're married, so you got that one. But if someone who's not married, there's that one. Like I wanted to marry this woman. We were actually like engaged, and it was happening like slow. It didn't happen fast. Slowly, it began to dissipate and get to a different area. And she was in Alaska working for the summer. And normally, when we've ever had problems, if I got there and this is the ego in a young man. Oh, well, if she sees me and we discuss, she's of course going to want to get back and everything's going to be fine. She's just got to see me. That's this horrible ego thing that young men have. But there's a reason that, things are changing. So I figure if I get there and I speak face to face and, we talk it out, things can go back to normal, but that's not what happened.
Okay, so you get there, and what happens?
What happened was after each night where she was supposed to come to my hotel, something always came up. And that right there, after the first day, now being an old man, knowing what I know, if you go to Alaska and the other person doesn't want to see you on the first day, if you don't get out, then you have no pride and you are really, you're really delusional. But I stuck around because I cared about this woman so much.
All right, so you go to Alaska, you're calling her, and she's not reciprocating.
Yeah.
She's not coming over to see you.
So she's saying, I'll be over tomorrow. Blah, blah, blah. So after a while, 4 days, whatever, I go up and see her. And I walk to the place where she's staying. and I see her through the window, and she won't open the door. Again, thinking back, this is another sign case. You don't have to be a genius to figure it out. So what do I do? And I react, which I have a problem
Go
doing.
ahead. What happens?
So I bust the door down, and yeah, that girls don't really like that. That's not something that they like.
Was
So
she working on a crab ship or something else for the
she
summer?
was selling jewelry for that's what they do. They get like good looking girls from California, and they get them out for. And she was great at it. I mean, she was great at everything. She could do anything, selling. So when tourists get off the cruise ships, they see this hot girl who's very bright and who's great at selling stuff. Of course, she's a star. So that's what she was doing up there. I guess she was making money and making a life for herself, and distancing from me, which happens. So I was too dumb to let change happen, and that's why I went up there, and I reacted. Well, she's not going to talk to me. Okay, well, here goes the door, and then the door, the door wasn't. The door went flat in a matter of seconds,
Did you
and
kick it, punch it, or something else?
no, I just put a shoulder in it.
Oh, nice.
Maybe that's why my shoulder.
Nice.
Nice. So yeah, the police, it's a small town, right? You couldn't leave without everyone knowing who you were. So the police got me, they put me in jail, and there I stayed for 10 days, Vince. Where were you? Why couldn't I known you 10 years ago? You
Yeah,
would
I'm
have
not. I'm not admitted in Alaska. So, why are you in jail for 10 days though?
because they didn't know what to do with me. They're like, this guy doesn't know how to get a hold of anybody, and they kept me in the same spot for it was horrible. They didn't put me in Gen Pop. They put me in a room full of 4 people, and I got to shower I think once, and oh, it was just, the worst part was coming off all those off of all the drugs that I was prescribed. It was so fucking scary, Vince.
What were you on at the time?
Um, the antidepressant, Lexapro, Ritalin, Adderall, and they say that there's no withdrawal from Adderall or Ritalin. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit. Oh, they say there's no withdrawal from cocaine because it's a smaller scale, poor man's cocaine. There is such a withdrawal; it's crazy. So the anti anxiety, take that away, and you can die from that. It's a benzodiazepine. They take that away. Um, the other one was for the seizures from a head injury. I forgot
Doesn't matter. We get it. So,
whatever it was, but they just stopped everything cold turkey. And when you're on stuff for 10 or 15 years, 20 years, to stop something all of a sudden is torture. So, yeah, it was not fun, Vince.
were you sleeping in bunk beds?
Yeah, it was like in jail. I mean, you got but this was a four people, two bunks, and the only time what time it is when they bring in your meal.
What were your bunk mates like?
Um a lot of them were in, I guess meth is very popular up there, and I was in there for so long that I would see people come in and out, and then if they're since they got in trouble a lot, they'd go downstairs into Gen Pop. But I guess they kept me there because it's like, what are we doing with Armstrong? Well, nobody knew. Nobody knew to tell me, hey, we can get you a lawyer, and that maybe they can get a hold of someone in California that you might know. But instead, they just let me rot there. So yeah, that kind of sucked.
What were you charged with?
Yeah, it was bad. The sheet that I had, it always looks worse than it is, but
What were you
it's
charged with?
a bunch of things. The first was criminal mischief, I believe. Second was high, like when I saw her phone right there, so I stole her phone. I was so immature, so I stole the phone just because I guess I wanted to know if she was cheating on me or whatever. stupid. That and once you take that, that means you're stopping someone from reporting a crime. There's that, and then there was two more things, kind of like that. I guess breaking and maybe breaking and entering, maybe. I don't know. It's been it was 2010, so it's been a long time. I've forgotten it. And I've kept my nose clean since.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to get back. What was the masturbation situation like in 10 days?
Ma- the masturbation.
Yeah, like, do you have to do it in quiet? Can you do it at
Oh,
all?
Vince, believe me, bud, you're not thinking of that for the as a man, you probably don't believe it, but when you're up against so much, you don't know what the hell is going to happen to you, and you're withdrawn from all these drugs. That is not something that you're even thinking of. Um, and you know what the weirdest thing is? The whole time I'm in there, I'm like, I'm totally missing her. Like, um, how could I have made this right? So
Gotcha. All right. So then how do you actually get out then after 10 days?
I took a chance on the goodness of people, and sometimes it works. There was this nice kid who was in there for a drunk driving. He was in just for the weekend because the courts are closed on the weekends. So I give him my mother's um, phone number and a note to read her onto the phone to tell her where I am and um, how to get a hold of the jail and how to talk to me because I couldn't call out and ask her for anybody. I called my boss. I was working for Max Muscle at the time, um, but that's not somebody that's going to be there past 5 o'clock. So I figured I'd call my mom so she would know where I was. So I sent him, and he got a hold of her and sent bail to this kid that we don't know that could have just taken it and put it away. But the kindness of strangers sometimes will surprise you. Took the money, brought it back up, and got me out of jail. So if I have to learn anything from that whole experience, it's don't be an asshole, don't be a jerk, don't go to Alaska. But there are people out there that are still good people, and he could have just taken that money and said, you know, took a big shot. But nobody told me, hey, we can get a lawyer in here, and that's what they do.
So you get out of jail and then you eventually make your way to Walmart in Alaska, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you see a cute Asian guy who's shopping as well, right?
Yes. Yes. Cute
And
Asian guy, nice, muscular. He's got a great ass.
what is your pickup line to the Asian guy?
I wasn't trying to pick anybody. I had to be there, Vince, because you can't just skip town. You have to. It might have been a week. I don't know. You have to wait till your court date, and that wasn't until like 4 or 5 days away. So I said to this person, I thought was a girl, and I said, "I'm from out of town. Um, excuse me. I'm from out of town, and I don't know my way around. This is a weird situation. I'll tell you what I just went through. Would you like to go grab a drink or something like that?"
Yeah, and from that, obviously, episode one will take over where we discover what occurs through the next few days with this guy and Casey. And I will say this that it takes a lot of balls and courage to admit that you finally hooked up with a guy after years and years of torment of you being gay, which you've denied. Finally, we
I'm not.
have.
Well, I'm not gay, man. I didn't know it was a. I didn't know it was a guy, Vince.
Right, I agree that potentially you didn't know, but finally we have evidence that you hook up with a guy.
Yeah,
And
that's true. It happened.
Casey did not deny it. He actually brought it to the show, and obviously we have video proof of what's going on. And episode one will be that. I didn't know where to take our series. Should we start from the beginning when you were
I love how
asking?
the first one you have to pick. Let's gay off on the first one.
Well, I mean, ultimately that was something that people always thought you
Yeah,
were
yeah,
gay.
yeah. No, I'm with you, man. It's cool. It's totally cool, and it's a good idea. I think it's a great one to talk about because looking at that person. anyone would say, what did you really think that that was a woman? No offense to that person, but for anyone to think that that's like a hot girl, I don't, except for Benji. Benji's like, hey man, you mind if I give her a call? I'm like, Benji, no, that's totally cool with me. But oh shit, I forgot to do that. But Vince, I'm with you. I gotta read the green and the purple. Casey, do you sleep with Rita G? That's a funny story. I didn't, but I'll tell you the whole story
Who was Rita
another time.
G?
Rita G was the girl with the most perfect natural breasts, and they were perfect. She was a lesbian, but it's a funny story, and I will tell you that. Good question, L Look 05. Thank you
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much.
Part of the criticism you received from the blooming fat onion was that you were just reading chats, which I actually had told you maybe before or after that show. It's like it's cool to do as an amateur, but eventually it just slows the show down when you just sit there and you're looking at every chat and reading it, which
No,
is
I at the last couple minutes, I always appreciate the audience, and I'm going to read a couple of their things. But when they do this thing called the super chat, I have to read it, or else I'm a fucking asshole.
yeah, I agree. Look, if they're gonna pay, you might as well read it. But just the point is that eventually you move on and you just have a show that flows. And I actually like hearing the fans ask you questions because the
Oh
one
well, I mean, Vince, from getting a lesson from that guy who obviously has his finger on knowing how to broadcast. I mean, he's done so much in this space. I mean, he's he was competing with Howard, wasn't he? Or Amos? He was in that mix, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
think it was, but I get what you're saying. We're trying to put him down that he's never done anything, and
Oh, I'm not
he's
putting anybody down, and I would prefer to talk about something else.
you keep saying that, but I'm just saying like that he does have good advice as to how to run the show. I'm not saying that he actually has a show that anyone cares
And
about.
what would lead you to believe that? Would it be his numbers, or would it be? Have you heard the show?
I've heard the show. No, his numbers indicate that he shouldn't be listened to. However, the advice that he's giving is 95% accurate.
Good. John Doe, $10. Thank you. But you didn't leave a question, but thank you very much for giving that to us. That's very nice of you. I appreciate that. I got you, Vince. I hear you, man. Look, good luck to that guy. I hope he's doing what works for him, and I'm happy for him. I hope he continues. I wish him continued success.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter. Just the point is that he does have good advice, and I think maybe on our first episode we may go through a few of his tips to you. Whether you like it or not is one
No,
thing.
I don't. Maybe if just make up a different name. I don't want to give him any attention.
No, I mean, I already gave him attention. It's like the blooming fat onion or fat bald onion or fat hairy onion or something like that. I don't know what the channel is, but
Hmm.
I listen. I told you when you text me, I listened to it on the treadmill, and he does have a few good points. Go
Okay,
ahead.
well, all right, good. But half of the show doesn't want to talk about him um, or learn anything from him. So we'll talk off the air about that. But Norma
Maybe.
Norma Stitz says, "Can Casey be sued for promoting Artie's coming soon?" Now, why would you do that, Norma? In fact, I just talked to him right before I came on the air, and
But
he
it's a
said,
great question Norma has because you text me saying, "Hey, I
"I
can't
got
do it at 8. Let's do it at 9. Artie's coming on the show." So I asked, "Are you sure you're getting him on tonight?" And you said, "No, he's coming on another time." So
right."
what is it? What is
I
the
was
deal
just
with
talking to
Artie?
you.
What's the deal with Artie?
He's coming on next week.
Hmm. Oh, do you remember when you were
Big Blue 128, but no comment is what's going on with that. Go ahead,
Big
Vince.
Blue? Big Blue's another fan of my old show from Hyperteric and the
Oh, well, you
24.
did some funny stuff, so obviously he's a good fan of comedy.
Yeah, he doesn't like me though. So remember when you were waiting for Artie with your girl in California to see him at a hotel, and Artie doesn't come down? You're sitting there waiting
I
with your
sent
girl.
him a Viagra.
So basically, Casey walks up to a hotel knowing that Artie's there. Now, Artie went on the show and claimed he had a girl in the room, which is such bullshit.
No,
Ar-
that's not. No, that's definitely what happened. He was at a, if I remember correctly, he was at a signing, and I was supposed to meet him at the hotel, and he was with a girl, and I was waiting for him to come down, and he was doing his own thing.
That's what Artie said. Now, Artie was on drugs then, and he was not with a girl. Artie's not going to be with a girl for more than 10, 15 minutes. He let you wait down in there for over 4 hours, and then eventually you go home. You do send them up a Viagra to the room, which
How do
Artie
you
put.
know this, Vince?
I
From what you
know.
heard on the radio?
No, I know
I mean, you got
information.
to look. If we're gonna do this, you got to understand that I know more than what is told, and if I'm lying, I'm gonna tell you that. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna tell you something that isn't true. I mean, I was there. I know. So that's an important thing, brother.
I understand. Did you see Artie with a girl?
I don't think
Uh,
so.
uh. Did you wait for 5 hours for Artie to not come down?
No. Actually, I did see him probably after 2 hours, I believe.
Okay. Have you known Artie to be such a sexual person he can be with a girl for over 2 hours?
I don't know what he was doing up there, Vince, and that's his deal.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what he was doing. I don't believe he was with a girl. I believe he was with
Okay, well
drugs.
that's your opinion, but don't say it that like it's fact because you don't know that.
Obviously, what I say is what my opinion is, not what I
Right,
observed.
right. That's okay.
Yeah, and I get that. So back to
How come I can't?
what do you want to do?
Oh, I got to do that. Yeah.
By the way, your video looks a lot better today than other times because the fat onion was critiquing your green screen, but today it looks pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah, I called him. He gave me some pointers because he's such a mensch. Why can't I click on some of the ones? I have to click on the green ones, and okay, I can't click on. So that's good. All right. So the first episode, I think, if you wouldn't mind, Vince, explain to people like what we're exactly gonna be doing. We're gonna be playing, right? Like,
Yeah, so basically Casey and I when we were talking at in the back room of Shuli's show, like, look, we both have contrasting personalities, but also similar personalities. You know my style, and Casey is one of the reasons why I even do this because for all the years Casey took so much shit about being gay. I know a lot of people could be offended about being gay. You know what's something cool about being gay? It used to be something where if I called you gay, I could say Casey's gay, and you could sue me for defamation in court. But now the law has changed, basically saying like if you're gay, it's not such a bad thing. So you can out anyone you want now without any financial repercussion in court. So you could say that Shuli's gay and there would be no repercussion. But for the longest time, I mean, Casey took so much shit about being gay, which he wasn't. I mean, he only hooked up with one guy. He only let one guy grab his penis, on purpose. And that's going to be for the fans to decide whether that's gay or not, or whether he's gay or not.
oh my god.
But as we go back, I mean, because there's so much history with KC, which Fat Onion has no idea how much you put into this show. I mean, any true fan of
Yeah,
the
no,
show.
and that's fine. You can't. Not everyone is going to like you, and um, let me just do this real quick, Vince, because I don't ever want to be labeled as a guy who doesn't um, who's ungrateful.
Yeah.
Norma Star, can Casey be sued for? Okay, we did that one, and that brought up something, Vince. Can someone sue, like you were talking about, if someone's gay? Can you sue
Mhm.
that? How about now? I don't know the pronouns and the this, the they, the. Can I be sued for misgendering someone?
No, there's only two There's only two genders, male or female. No matter what you do, no matter how much surgery one person has, you can never biologically change your sex. You're either male or female. So the guy you hooked up with, no matter how much he does, it will always be a guy. He can get implants, he can chop off, he can amputate his penis, but you hooked up with a guy, no matter what.
Really? Like even if he's got a he took the thing downstairs off, he took the things upstairs off, took the hormones, he's got the high voice, I he's still considered a guy?
Still a guy. You can never, ever, ever change your biological sex, no matter what anybody says.
Wow.
So you hooked up with a guy, no matter what.
Well, look, I told you I'd come to grips with that a long time ago. Look, 5, Casey, this is great. Casey, $100 super chat if you suplex Vinny into a wrestling mat covered in ringworm. It's funny. Hey, did you ever get ringworm, Vin?
Yeah, I mean, I had it a million times. I mean, you had it too, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt.
All wrestlers have had ringworm. There's nothing you could do about it because they don't really clean the mats that well. And it's really by contact, skin contact to contact. Did you get ringworm from Darlene?
No, I think I got maybe just some scrapes from his stubble. Let's go, Brandon. I'm with you on that one.
Oh, Casey, did you ever vote?
Yes.
In a presidential election? In a presidential election?
Yes, I did.
In the last one.
The last one I voted for, Mr. Trump.
Yeah, no, I figured. I mean, most people on Long Island are Republican. That's where we both grew up in.
But all New York is all Democrats.
Yeah, well, I'm from all Democrats. Get this, though. They want to move the migrants into the gymnasiums of a Brooklyn school. And guess what all you Democrats did? They all are protesting. All of a sudden, they don't want the migrants in their kids' school. Imagine that.
Yeah, and if that's not, if there's something that's not on the list of things that I shouldn't do, that's one of them. People say, Casey, don't talk any politics, don't do any of that. But I just got back from watching my nephew play tennis. Vince, you would hate this. There wasn't a ref, there wasn't an umpire, or a judge. The kids just, they leave it up to them just to say who, kind of who wins.
Well, I mean, sometimes like let's say in beach volleyball, you don't have refs and you just judge on what each of you is saying. So like where we grew up, Casey and I both grew up in a place where we didn't go to summer camp, most likely. You weren't a Jewish kid and I wasn't. So we'd sit at the beach all day, which wasn't a bad lifestyle, but we play beach volleyball and you're your own ref. Now that's common sometimes, but like if they're not keeping score at all, that would be weird.
Right. It's like it looked to me a little bit. By the way, my nephew did a great job. So big thumbs up for him. So thorough, Joe Burrow. Casey, how much money for you to eat 8 McMuffins? I got to tell you something, man. Even after I cut weight for the whole week or whatever, I couldn't eat 8 McMuffins. Vince, could you eat 8 McMuffins?
No, not at all.
Oh, how close?
No, maybe 2 or 3. I would say.
Yeah, I could do 2 or 3 probably.
The fat onion and also myself, we were trying to calculate how much Shuli made during the event that we went to. How much did you get paid for that?
Oh,
I got paid 400. Was it more or less?
You got paid $400?
And I didn't even do it. By the way, I was supposed to just be on the podcast. And then I was bringing High Pitch Eric. Now, High Pitch Eric wasn't paid anything technically. I'm the one who paid him $200. But what I did was, yeah, but I had bet on one of the UFC fighters because Shuli put us up at the hotel that had FanDuel there. So yeah, I'm like, I bet enough so that I can pay his $200 because I promised him $200. So he actually won that bet. And I didn't have to actually pay him anything. Yeah. So you were paid less than 400?
Well, no, Vince, what I saw this thing going into it is I saw this as a way to meet these people that I associate with every day. I saw it as a promotion because I'm new, just to get me out there. So the money, as much as I could, because I was hustling. I was selling books afterwards, and then I tried to set up this after party at a strip club. So I was hustling, but mainly it was a promotional thing. It was to get out there because this is a new, it's it's a new step for me. It's a new area. So that's what I had to gain from it. So the money I wasn't too concerned with.
Yeah, like the way I look at it, because I'm not necessarily so involved in. You want to read that one?
Sure. Bo Archer, thank you, Bo. If you call Howard or Artie and get either one on the phone, then Patrick Melton disappears. P.S. Are you high on cigarettes? Not really getting it. Vince, explain it to me. I'm going to be asking you a lot.
They're
So
basically
explain
saying
stuff
that
to me.
this guy, I don't know, Patrick Melton is that fat onion. He,
Did you ever see that what is that it's called the human centipede?
yes.
If you put half of a spotty beard on the human centipede, that's the guy that I saw that I was upset with.
Why are you saying he looks bad?
He looks like the human centipede with a blotchy beard. And that's all I'll say. But explain the rest to me.
Yeah, so they're basically saying if you actually got one of those two on the phone, then this guy Melton would be impressed. And then,
Oh, okay. So I got Artie coming on next week. Are we happy now?
well, we'll see if he comes on, because remember that hotel incident.
What hotel?
I said, you know, where you're waiting for him to come down and come down. What
When
is
he
that?
was with a girl? What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with who comes on my podcast, Vince?
Well, already promised to come down and he didn't.
Uh, no, and he did at the end of the after he, I was being rude because I was interrupting him with a young lady, and that's kind of a to cock block your own friend is kind of being a dick, and he should have never come down at all. But why am I high on cigarettes? What does that mean?
That I don't understand. You don't smoke cigarettes, right?
I don't smoke. No, I never
Yeah,
did.
I've never did in my life. I would never smoke cigarettes.
Me neither, buddy.
Yeah. So we were talking about the fat onion, and then Artie, and then Howard. The real issue is, yeah, they're saying that I'm trolling you.
What does that mean? Explain that to me.
That means that I'm basically sabotaging your show by
I
talking
see it
shit
going as a
about you.
good show. I see it being entertaining and asking some tough but interesting questions. Why is that trolling?
Yeah, it's annoying. This is my style. You know what my style is. I'm not going to come on here and kiss your ass
Right. I
unless it's
didn't
needed.
expect you to, buddy.
Yeah, no. And by the way, I mean, Casey has given us all Stern fans hours and hours of content, beautiful content, starting from the beginning and then right up, really even
Right up to
past,
kissing a guy.
right up to, you know, letting a guy grab his cock. I mean, that's beautiful. Who else is really going to give us that out of any one of the show members? It wasn't Julie. It wasn't really anyone else besides Casey that did that.
Well, I guess I'm so lucky that I was the one that happened to.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately,
Vince, I
no.
just got to tell you this, man. I know we're going to talk more about it, but I think you brought it up one time. We were talking back. I don't remember, but the one thing that I'll just mention it because we are going to talk about it is I got a note from this dude. I'm on the plane. I wasn't even going to read it. So I'm sitting there and I'm going back and I open it up and it gets to the part where it says something that you should know. I haven't done this to anyone else, but you need to know I am a man. I put the thing down on my lap and I just look up. And the only thing I could do was just start laughing. I was just like, it was half laughing because Casey is such a fucking moron, half laughing like this happened to you. But I did write him back. I said, you know, you got to be careful because there are people, if you do this to, they will kick your ass. They will hurt you. I'm not that guy. I I made that choice, and yeah, I'm embarrassed, and I didn't see it coming. I feel like a moron, but you got to be careful because people will hurt you if you do that again. Have you ever seen something like that in court? Like,
My old law partner that I used to work with, his best friend went to jail for 17 years for killing someone in the same situation. and he did it when he was in college when the cops roll up to his college. It wasn't Marist, but it was like one of those colleges upstate,
Uh-huh.
and he actually killed someone who did that
Oh
to
my
him.
god.
Yeah,
He
so
must have
it's
had sex with him.
he did, but like ultimately, then he finds out that or he got to that point, and then he finds out. So yeah, some might say that if you harm someone like that, then you really are gay closeted. So the fact that you didn't do anything to him physically or even try and get back at him,
No, I'm just an
it
asshole.
no, you're not an asshole. I mean, ultimately, a man sees what he sees, and that's why the trans guys they do that for a reason. They want to get you excited, so they dress as close as they can to a female.
Yeah. Was it,
Uh,
I should have known something though, Vince. I mean, well, we'll get more into this because
Yeah, but ultimately you did know. Like you not that you knew
well, that's what you
consciously,
think until I tell you everything. Yeah,
you
you
knew
might not say that.
subconsciously. When you kiss a guy, there's a difference between kissing a girl.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Would you agree with that or no?
I see. I'm always the last to get the joke, Vince, and sometimes I'm thick. Sometimes I might be a little bit dumb or whatever at times. But
Sometimes.
that comes afterwards, and it was only until after where I remember this didn't make sense. This didn't make sense when I went to look through the eye hole, put his thumb on the eye hole. That doesn't make sense if it's a girl. All this stuff came in later, but we'll talk about it during our first
I
episode.
would say this, like there's a saying like if you think it's a guy, it is. But then the other indicator, it's a huge indicator, is the breast. Are they fake or are they completely flat? So a lot of people look for Adam's apple, but if you look for the breasts, were they fake or were they completely flat? They can have obviously fake breasts, but if they're completely flat, then that's another indicator. Also, having fake breasts is an indicator too.
Yeah, and my my saving I don't have any, but the only thing that was saving me at all was being Asian. That that no, that doesn't add up either. So take that
No,
back.
you're right. Asians are generally hairless. They come from a region where they don't smell, so like they don't sweat or have this aspect where they don't smell. So Asians are way more likely to trick a man than really any other race.
Hmm.
By the way, what's your least favorite race?
As far as like being attracted to,
Whatever.
um, as far as like if no, I can't. Well, I guess I can answer. Like, I don't like body hair.
What race? Like, what's your least favorite race?
I don't have a least favorite race because there are assholes and there are beautiful people either way. But I'm saying just to look at, um, to be attracted to someone, any hairy, um, um, yeah, and like bald, don't like that.
That's not a race, though. I mean, like,
Yeah, I know because there's no race. I can't put it on a race.
do you like Africa? Do you hate African? Do you hate
No,
Asian?
there is, you can find a 10 anywhere in any. So I'm not a good. That's not a good question to ask me because I can find calf muscles in some race. That
Oh,
kind of
mine was the 100-yard dash. I fucking hated the 100. Like the 40 was okay, but the
would
100
you?
was
What do you? Your 40 was pretty quick.
yeah, but the 100 was not as good.
10-9, 11-2.
Pretty much, but I was trying to trick you into answering the to tell me like black's your favorite, your least favorite race.
No,
But I
I
was
don't.
like,
I don't have any of that. People are just too sexy to start with.
can't
So
it can't fool KC.
I'm not being fooled. I'm just being honest with you, buddy. I got this one here. It says show and poo poo sass a la grande. You still in touch with Howard? I'm not. Vince, are you?
I am not directly, and I get where you and part of this series is going to explore what actually occurred to you during your childhood with your dad. I didn't really tell you this yet, but and then really transforming that onto Howard as well, and the lack of unconditional love that you got from both.
Oh,
No,
that's
just
not maybe. I mean, Howard's not my father, but we'll get to that episode when we get there. Vince, why are you trolling KC? He's a nice guy. He's not some smug, arrogant jerk like Stuttering John or Shirley. Stop it. Hey, Illook 05, that's very nice of you to say that, but I don't see he's doing that at all. I see that he's a guy who likes to ask the tough questions, and he doesn't want to sugarcoat any questions. He doesn't want to do an interview or be a part of any show that's kind of like, when were you so great? That's what I see, buddy. But I appreciate you looking out for me. Vince, I don't see that. Are you trying to do that? I don't see that.
there's some truth in what he's saying. I mean, ultimately, I'm not intentionally trying to do that, but I
Are
want
you
to
trying
press.
to hurt me for some reason? It doesn't sound like that.
No, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to get to the bottom of certain questions. And you're right. I won't ask the general softball questions. That's not my style. But nor is it my style to force tough questions as well. Because I mean, we're embarking on a long series here, and I'm telling you where I would like to take it. But you're an, as we agreed to, an equal co-host in what we're doing and what we're going to do. So I can't push you so hard, and what I did tell you, and you'll tell this to the, no matter what you say to me, say it on the air. If you want to make fun of me, say it. You want to make fun of my youngest daughter or my oldest son, go ahead and do it.
Never.
But I said, but I said to you, do it.
Yeah, I
I
won't
said,
though.
look, if you can, I mean, sometimes they're annoying, so you can say something about them. That's fine with me. I'm not going to be one of these guys that cries about you talking about my kids. If you, and another thing, look, the fat onion did give you a piece of advice, and everyone a piece of advice. If you're going to be on the internet, you got to be able to deal with
I I
lies.
I I, I would really, unless he needs to be heard from, unless he's doing something where I have to read it, because if it's in colors, I have to read it. I don't want to speak about, I don't want to punch down. I'm done with him. I'm gonna wish him luck. Or if that's who we're talking about, I wish him luck. I wish him continued success. But that he's not in my world. He's just and I'm no better than anybody. But in this case, this is a waste of time to even speak with someone like
Yeah, let's face it. Right now, technically, he's punching up. Right, we have 2,000 subscribers. He's got 6,000. Neither is anything significant or material. However, I'm just saying that the themes that he was saying, I don't care who said it. Some of the things he was saying was
I
accurate.
don't give a fuck.
Well,
It
it's up to
takes
you if you
two,
want.
Vince. Let's give this to me, okay? Because we're gonna, it's give and take here. We're being partners here. I don't want anybody who said mean things like that. You got to be on my side. You can ask the questions, but when I say I don't want to talk about some loser who is tough behind a computer, but you know what, Vince, you know what? I always believe this. I believe that the universe has a way of working itself out. I do believe that if you do stuff that you, like, this guy's going to meet me one day, and I'm not, I would never do anything to him. I would never touch him. No way. But he will meet me someday.
But that's what you're implying. You're implying that I'm
No, I'm
stronger than
not.
him. You are. You're implying that I'm stronger than him.
Well, I am
Therefore,
stronger than him, of course. Yeah, you know that. But he will meet me one day,
and
and
then what?
and then it might be a tough conversation to have because I'll ask him probably just to repeat what he said, and we can have a conversation like
Okay, so
two
then he
adults.
repeats what he says. What are you going to do?
Thank you very much, and continued success to you.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that.
I'm not, dude. I'm not a tough guy, nor do I want to be. Not my thing. I'll leave that to the real tough guys that are out there.
Yeah, but ultimately, you are a tough guy, and that's the thing where, like, I say the same thing. I mean, I'm a non-violent person, but however, if you attack me physically, that'd be one thing.
That's
But
not a good idea.
yeah, but ultimately, You're implying that you're stronger than him physically.
No, no, I'm not implying it. I'm telling you. I mean,
Fine. You are stronger than him physically. You could, if you guys were in a fight, you would beat him
I
up.
think my
How?
cats know that.
Well, look,
By the
if
way,
the
I got a
chats
new
know it, then it
calico
must
cat.
be true.
I got a calico cat. Naya, the calico cat.
Yeah. How come you talk about these cats? We never see them though.
Because they're not allowed in studio. Let's see. Bo Archer. Patrick is Melton. Is 6'5", 300 plus, and has zero shoulder play. Perfect. That's awesome. I love it. That's terrific. Good. I love it. That would be great.
No,
Good for him.
I knew a Patrick Melton that wrote for he wrote Saw. He wrote a few of the Saw episodes. I don't know if that's the
Those
same
were great
guy.
movies.
Yeah, but it was like the later ones. But I don't know if it's the same Patrick Melton. I didn't know his real name. The Blooming Onion.
I like those when you go to but then you better be by yourself for the rest of the night because you are putting some napalm out of your ass pipe.
So back
Just
to
saying.
yeah, back to our series. I mean, Darlene and the Casey hooking up with the guy is only going to be a first few, and then we're going to get into. And there's a huge history of what Casey has done throughout the time that any Stern fan knows. I don't have to promote Casey as a significant part. I mean, some may say that you have more significant role than Stuttering John.
No, 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 no. John was man, he was there, but he was my favorite part of the show before I got there. I loved those you know, that way because anytime you can take people who think they're so important and just bring them down a little bit. Yeah, John didn't write those, and they were written by Fred and Jackie and Howard and everybody else. But he was the one that went on and asked those questions, and I loved him for it. I have respect because it's not easy to do. You you are looked at as the biggest douchebag. I guess I'm not, not totally not have never experienced that before, but yeah, no, John was my favorite part of the Stern Show before I got in there. And Colin Madden says Vince is trying to be a wise guy. Yeah, a wise guy. What do you mean you're gonna be a wise guy? Vince is trying to be a wise guy, but Casey is more self-aware and generally less dim-witted than John. Colin, I love you, thank you, but you got one thing wrong. I am very dim-witted. I'm not bright. 820 on my PSAT, 710 on my SAT, full scholarship, WKU, toppers once, toppers
you
twice. Holy
you
jump, Jesus Christ.
you only need 700 to play in collegiate football. So if you're
Unless you want to go NAIA.
if you're got over 700, you can play. So back to when you first got
What did
onto
you
the
get, Vince? What did you get? Your SAT must have been out of the
it
box.
was like in the 1200, like 1240 or 1260, something
Were
like
you
that.
more math or the verbal?
Math.
You good at math?
Yeah.
What do you think? What course did you take in high school that helped you most in your profession now?
It would have to be math to the sense that math and English are your tickets to undergrad, then they're your ticket to graduate school. So if you want to go on the SAT, I mean, it's math and English. So, like I told you, that I trained my son in just math and English, and he got into the number one high school in New York City.
That's a
But
bright kid.
yeah, but not because he's so bright, Casey. It's because we trained in math and English. It's a secret that, or it's the path to success for this younger generation and to get into high school here in New York City.
Gotcha.
So none of those courses really make or break your life, so to speak. But I mean, when you went to Western Kentucky University, were you recruited?
Yeah, yeah.
What was your backup school that you would have went to?
It was either that, and I was Vince. I was real small coming out, and I could have wrestled, but I didn't want to because I hated it and I wanted to have fun. But it was Virginia Tech. I was going to be a preferred walk on, Virginia Tech or Western Kentucky, and that's what I did. And it took me 1 year to get the parcel, and then from there on, the next 3 years, I got it all paid for and was captain for the past 2 years.
It's interesting that you say that you didn't want to wrestle because obviously we're going to get into your dad's influence on you. Now, your dad was a wrestler and he was a wrestling
Well, he's a
coach.
wrestling coach.
Yeah, and that's the issue when
He
you
was a
got,
brawler.
but your dad was a wrestling coach. Was
Football coach
he
too.
was he successful as a wrestler during his career?
He he went to Levittown, and he he really excelled as a football player. Wrestling wasn't really that huge, but he kind of fell in love with it. Um, he was more of a guy that would scrap at the drop of a hat. If his money was up at the bar and somehow someone took his money, because in the old days, what we used to do is when you go to a bar, you would put your cash up next to your drink and the bartender would take out and you would leave it there. It was a code among men. You never took someone else's money that was there. But after he died, I heard, I heard stories from a couple of people that I trust and know that they weren't BS and that um, that even it was his money that was taken, but he actually held the guy by his ankles over a bridge. And even though it was his money he was losing, he was shaking the guy up and down as money was dropping into the water, saying, "Don't ever steal money from people."
Now I get that. I also went into Chat
It's
GPT.
funny.
Do you know what Chat GPT is? It's an
No.
AI for so basically you can type in anything you want, but people can do this. Type in the effects on a child when your parent does not give you when your parent doesn't give
Who
you
said that happened?
hold
My
on,
my father
unconditional.
loved
You got to let
me
me
as best he
finish.
could.
Type in effects on a child when your parent doesn't give you unconditional love. And the main three things are anxiety, depression, and self sabotage of relationships. So it hit me. Now, this could be obviously wrong.
Yeah, it is
However,
wrong because all the relationships I was in were not sabotaged by me. It was the other person who didn't like me.
well, and then again, like you're unaware of what you're doing. But do you have anxiety?
Yeah,
Do you
I
have
get
depression?
anxiety. There's a bear shit in the woods?
So the answer is yes. Did you sabotage your relationship with Howard and your business?
Yes.
Have you sabotaged any relationships with any type of women that you've been with?
Yes.
Okay. So then the
Okay.
question,
Anyone out there, anyone in the chat, anyone who doesn't answer yes to any of those, I would like to know you because I believe if you're a human, you're going to answer yes to all four of those things, Vince. Have
potentially.
you, Vince? Are you saying that you haven't done that?
No, I don't have anxiety. I don't have depression. And I don't believe
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Good for
yeah.
you.
But the
Good.
point that look, I'm not saying that I'm at the conclusion yet. However, do you feel that your dad loved you unconditionally, regardless of your athletic performance?
Vince, are you saying that when he would say, "You're no son of mine," if I lost 7-6 in a tournament? I'm totally joking. That didn't happen.
It did happen. You know
No,
what
that
my
didn't happen. I was making a joke.
bullshit. Now, if I lost a match, my dad would never he would just say, "Hey, I never
Vince, that
wrestled
was a
before."
joke. You got to understand. We're doing this thing together. If it wasn't a joke, I'd say no.
Okay, all right. So
That's
you tell me,
yeah.
was your dad ever disappointed with your athletic performance?
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt, of course, because he thought I could do better, and I was lucky enough to have someone that would believe that I was so good that I could have done better. I would have been angry if someone said they cared about me, and if I lost 12-0, probably because I didn't try or whatever. I would think I got shortchanged, but not my father. He knew how good I was, and he did his best to make me see that I had this potential. And when I showed up and I did what I did the way I could, he let me know how good and how special I was.
Did you always felt love regardless of how you performed?
Yes. By definitely by my mother. By him, I think he could have liked me a little bit more if I won, but
Yeah, look,
but
that's
as a kid, you have a difficult time finding the difference between being. Sometimes you mix up uh, love and um, your potential, and not meeting your potential. And I think that in its sense is love, to not bullshit someone who the person knows they can do better and they didn't do better. So don't treat them the same way.
Yeah, I get that. And look, I'm saying that, and then I'm self-reflecting, like, because with my son, in terms of academic performance, I mean, we trained for an exam for 2.5 years just for him to get into high school. But I know part of it is because of I wasn't excelling the way I should have. Basically saying that I didn't perform when I was his age the way I should have.
So you were trying to compensate for your lack of whatever you thought. But Vince, I'm sure everyone and myself would say, I think you've done pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, but I understand both ways. So then, like, your dad's focus is on athletics, which is really just a performance. It's an entertainment, bottom
Mhm.
line. You don't think of that when you're in high school, but you don't realize you're entertaining. When you're playing football, you're entertaining. When you're wrestling, you're entertaining. It's an art, and you're entertaining. However, there's not really much of a career path for it, but your dad chose to put his energy to you. I believe that you felt, and it may not be true, but you felt that your love was conditioned on your performance, and it wasn't unconditional love, which led to this. Now, that's my hypothesis. I will not say that it's true,
All
and
right.
we're
Well,
gonna.
I mean, I'm sure we'll get into all that, but what I can tell you is that my old man was a great guy. Would do anything for his family. Did his best. Probably not the best parent as far as they go these days. Um, I don't think that he would be receiving any awards for parenting because he was old school, and a lot of these people in the chat know exactly what I'm talking about. He didn't give a fuck, and you know, if if it made you better, like if there were times that I had passed out, and running trying to make weight, and he'd say, "Get up, stop feeling sorry for yourself." Yeah, that's not really what you're supposed to say, but guess what? I wasn't dead. I got up. I made weight.
On
Guy knew what
topic,
he was talking about.
do you know where Cumberland University is?
I've heard of it.
Actually, I saw a show, Inside Edition today. A wrestler from Cumberland University died because his wrestling coach wouldn't allow him to get water, and
Yeah,
then he died of heat
that's tough.
exhaustion.
That's tough.
Which do
Yeah.
you remember? Did you have the coaches that wouldn't allow you to drink water?
No, you had to make weight, and
No, and even in like football or anything, because like I did
no,
back
not in
when.
football. You had coaches that wouldn't let you drink in football.
Yeah, man, you were a pussy if you drank water. If you had to go get, it was like a big deal to get water.
Oh, well, unless you were like wasting time or wasting the drills time, that's a bad coach. No, it's up to you to make the weight. And if you're over, oh shit, and you got to put the sweats on, sit under the mat, or you gotta go run before class. Your fault.
No, I get that. I'm not talking really so much wrestling, but in this situation, you can't die from not drinking water for one practice, but it was heat exhaustion. The kid is actually seen knocking on doors trying to get some water, and he died of heat
Yeah,
exhaustion. Uh,
that's wrong. You
yeah,
gotta
I just
know.
thought
You
of
gotta
you
know.
from.
Yeah, you gotta know that there are, of course, with everything, there are limitations. You don't tell an adolescent that he can't drink water. That's not okay.
Yeah, because people in the chat are saying like your dad with his handlebar mustache wouldn't allow him to drink water and told him to take diuretics. Is that
Not
true?
true. Not true. Those people are probably pussies that never, never, probably never wrestled. Definitely didn't wrestle for my old man. If you're a wrestler, that's the one thing. It's up to you. You have to pass up dinner. You have to not drink when all you want to do is just drink a 16-ounce glass of milk, and you'll dream about it all night. It's up to you to leave the window open so you lose an extra quarter of a pound because you're cold and you sleep without blankets. It has to do with being dedicated. Either you are or you're not. Don't blame a coach for you being a pussy.
So I actually heard you with a someone who's either a psychiatrist or a therapist. Do you remember doing that show on YouTube?
No.
You were talking about your journey. It was about a 40-minute interview with a woman who was asking you about your life and how you quit drinking or
Oh
quit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Point of no return. She. Yes, I think I know who you're talking about. Very nice lady. Yeah, she does a good
Nice,
job.
nice woman. It was like 11 at night, and I'm cracking up because she asked you, when was the first time you experienced alcohol? And you're like, when everyone else does, second or third grade, when you have a sleepover. I'm like laughing my ass off.
That's
I'm
not
like,
normal, Vince. That's not what happened.
no, second or third grade.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Well, how about smoking pot? When's the first time you smoked pot?
I never did.
You never
I,
smoked pot in your
I
life?
told you I never did an illegal drug. I know it's legal now, but I never smoked pot. I never smoked anything.
That's pretty awesome, man. Did you ever wonder what it would be like?
No clue. No, don't care.
Were you afraid of it?
No, don't care. I don't need drugs to alter my mind to,
Good for you.
erase my dad's abuse when he was younger.
Was that aimed at me for some reason?
No, I'm saying like in general, people need to
No, but I'm
alter
just
their
asking,
state.
why would you say that? Because we were just talking about my dad, but
My
do
dad,
you
not
believe
yours.
that?
Do I believe that your dad had
That's why I do things is because my dad was abusive?
someone was in your life, in your childhood? We'll
Well,
get to the bottom of it. I
yeah, we'll
don't know
get
if
to
it
the
was your
bottom
dad.
of it, but that was kind of a smarky. I asked you a question, and you were very honest, and you answered it. But I don't know why you brought my dad into it.
I actually said my dad. You implied that I was implying your dad.
Yeah, and you weren't.
I wasn't. However, I told you before, I believe that that has something to do with the three factors of having a parent that you believe had
Okay,
conditional love for you. So
all
like,
right. I'm sorry if I
no, you're right on. You are right on with me
I
saying that.
don't want to put any words in your mouth.
No, you did. You're right. You're right in what I said. But I mean, like, this is not a psychological evaluation of you.
Right.
But if we can get to something and that would help, obviously your anxiety, your depression, and
No,
yeah,
I see a doctor. I'm under control the best I can with that. But yeah, I think we got some interesting things to talk about. You're very good at asking the probing questions, and I hope the audience is enjoying this. Let's see. Um, I Did I do okay? Vince is trying to. No, we talked about being a wise guy. Eh? Do you like the Three Stooges? Because I do.
never watched one episode of my life.
Okay, we're gonna do that. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna make you watch one of the Three Stooges. They do still hold up. Oh, I like this guy. Look, 05. Vince, tell me you are the annoying gunner in law school without telling me you were the annoying gunner in law school. What's a gunner?
I have no idea.
Oh, look, what's a gunner? Thank you, by the way.
Oh, so the one
You
thing I
go
want to
ahead,
ask
buddy.
about the Shuli show, I know you hooked up with a strip club. So what do you do in terms of finding a strip club that's near
First
the
place I
venue?
called, the first place that was close enough, mainly so we would have a place to go afterwards. People are always asking you when you go to a club, whether it be doing stand up or whatever, hey, where are you guys going? What's going on? So I have an answer. And if the place does well, then maybe I get my what do you call it? I get all my friends paid for, but not many people showed up. And my friend Anthony's tweet did not help the situation. But I don't speak for Anthony. I can only speak for myself. I don't agree with what Anthony said, but He's a grown man, says what he wants. So, oh, it's the beloved chatter. I hope his cancer's better. Why is that fat bearded onion guy picking on you? Well, if I had to guess, uh, Mr. Beloved Chatter, I would guess because um, I'm a nice guy and I don't go after people, and people are being very nice. And uh, the one thing I heard him say, like, I turned it off after about like a minute or two. Said like no one's paying attention. I got like I'm not getting past 500 views. Yeah, when when I'm live, but then you get a day. My views are usually around like anywhere from 2 to 10,000. I had one that was 300,000, but they made me take it down. But in a month, I'll do at least 3 to 5,000. That's more than from one, isn't? But I haven't. I should take it back because I haven't gone on that fat humps place to check to see how many numbers he's doing. But beloved chatter, thank you very much, Mr. Vince. Anything to add on that?
Yeah. So, regardless of that, we're talking about the strip club that you were promoting at the Casey show. I
Mhm.
didn't understand your financial connection to it. So, if someone went with your flyer, how much would you receive?
They usually charge $20. They get to pay 10.
So you would get 10 from that. Now, I did hear you mention on one of your shows that there was some misunderstanding at the strip club. What was that with regard to who's going to get paid?
No, no, it was the something happened at the end. It had nothing to do with me. Um, but no, I mean, it was as far as I'm concerned, there was no misunderstanding. I'm being honest with you.
So what happened though? You made a vague reference to something happening or miscommunication between
I
somebody.
I thought there would, I guess maybe it would. I thought more people were gonna go, but not many people came, and I ended up not doing very well after it's a hustle. Some of them work, some of them don't.
But after
I do
what
my
though?
best.
No, no, I get it. You can make zero, you can make 100,
Like
200, but like
usually I would take a flat fee, but I thought because this is different. This is different than going to a comedy show. People are coming in from other states, so I would figure that people would want to hang out. But I called this one wrong. The people were very nice to me at the club, and yeah, it just hey, you know, part of part of being I guess, an entrepreneur is that you are gonna fail sometimes. You take shots, and some won't always work,
I
but
totally get
keep
that, but
trying.
you had implied that there was a miscommunication between you and somebody else. I don't know if it was from the club or one of the people that you're with. Maybe they were going to get paid something.
No, no, I was the one that set it up. Nobody was gonna get. If I am a generous guy, and if I do well, I'm uh, I'm always gonna take care of people. Like if I made some decent money, of course I'd throw Shuley a couple bucks because he promoted it a little bit. But it was it was nothing. Like if I could take, besides meeting some nice people, and you know I I that's a wash. Vince, that's basically a wash. Nothing bad, nothing good, but
Yeah, no, no, I get that. It was interesting because you were saying something was amiss in terms of
I
miscommunication.
wrote it to you.
No, you said it on your show. I listened to your show, and you said there was, and you left it at that.
Well. I guess the fact that Anthony put out a tweet that got. I mean, it went like he got like 70,000 people to look at it, and that's how he saw it. And he is a he is a man who has his own opinion, and I would have liked if he said something different. But he gave his opinion, and he gave an honest opinion. That's completely okay. As long as it's true, that's how he feels. I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, so Casey's talking about Anthony Cumia, who was at the show. He did about a 10-minute set there, and then Cumia posted a tweet that I laughed. I laughed when I read it. He was making fun of the strippers, them being fat, and he wanted to go to the casino that we were staying at.
And he did, but did he say anything about was the casino any good?
Casino was
You
great. I
guys
mean,
stayed there. You stayed there.
yeah, we were staying there. There's no way I was staying in the middle of Pottstown. I mean, if I'm going up there, I'm staying at least something to do at night. High Pitch Eric and I went out to the casino. But regardless, we're talking about Anthony Cumia making that statement. Svetlana,
I'm sorry. I know Svetlana. She's a sweetheart. Svetlana, what nice to see you.
is she
And thank
Italian?
you. No, she's from Moldova.
Okay. So
We
when we
we
talk
watched Borat together.
in person together,
Yeah.
do you hook
Yeah.
up?
Um we 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 were friends going back to probably 2010. Yeah. Yeah, and we've kept in touch throughout that. She's a very nice girl.
I was watching you at the show when you were selling your books, and a girl, like, there's not many girls there, but one girl with fake breasts walked by, and I watch your face, and you're such a dog because I mean, I did the same thing, but you watch her walk by. She went to the bathroom, I guess, and then come back, and your eyes are fixated on her. You're trying to talk to her, and for anyone to fall for this nice guy act, which is, I mean, Casey's a nice guy, but he's also a guy looking for love, looking for girls. So don't fall so much for this sweet nice guy act. He's out there.
And Vince, you don't fall for you you think you know a lot more than you do, but you know a lot. For one, I abhor fake tits.
Me too.
I can't stand them.
Me too.
And it's almost like I won't even if it comes down to it, that's a deal breaker for me. You're saying you're the same way?
It's 100% the same way. If you think about it, I hate them. Not that my wife asks, but
It's totally different, right?
think about this, that you're a woman and you want to implant this silicone into your body to make you what? Feel more like a woman? It's so gross to me. So gross.
I'm with you 100%, man. And it's to a point where it doesn't feel, it doesn't, it doesn't even resemble what God gave you. And I'm not down with it. There's not many people like us, man, because most dumb guys, especially dumb guys, are like they look at these double D fake tits and they're like, oh my God, there's nothing better. They think that's the best, and I'm thinking like that turns me off.
Me too. I mean, uh, your girl she didn't have fake breasts in
Ooh, which one's
Alaska.
my girl?
Darlene in Alaska, she had obviously a man's
Well,
chest,
you got to
but
call it what it is. My guy.
your guy had flat chest. And again, that for you out there, one, if you believe it's a guy, if you think it's a guy, it is. Two, look for the chest. Forget the Adam's apple, forget the voice. Look for the chest. If they have implants, that's an indicator, right? Or if they don't, they're just going to have a flat chest, which
Mhm.
Casey looked right past and allowed this guy to stroke his cock, as we heard. We're going to get into the
We'll get into
details.
that. But
Yeah, I don't
I
want to
would
give
say,
it too
Vince,
far away, but yes.
you got to, the number one is you got to trust your gut. You got to trust something. If you feel something's up, then there is. And I knew something was up.
Your cock was
No,
up, according to Darlene, and as she was stroking it, the second time you guys were hanging out in the bedroom after you were playing Scrabble. Oh, by the way,
did I win? Did I win Scrabble?
I looked up the official Scrabble rules. Did you know that whenever you place a tile down, you have to kiss the man with you?
I didn't know that, but that's a good way of doing a perverted Scrabble. Let's me and you play one time. I like it.
We'll get into series one, but Casey changes the rules of Scrabble,
I changed the rules of everything.
and one of
Let's
the
go to
rules.
Jimmy the Drunk. Hold on. Jimmy the Drunk. Svetlana, is Casey large down there? Well, you have to take that up with her, Jimmy the Drunk. That is something that only she can answer. Sorry, Vince. You got it.
That's okay.
Thank you
So
for that.
Casey changed one of the rules with the dude that he was playing Scrabble with was every tile that he put down, he would have to kiss her. And it wasn't a
I don't think I would do that. I would maybe if it was like a triple point, like over 30 or something, make it interesting. Not because that's just like no one would go for that. No, that's not true. It's got to be like maybe over like 10 points or something.
yeah.
You gotta have some kind of some sort of excellence in the game to get a reward.
You'll see the video evidence. Ultimately,
All right.
Casey, it does say that like every word you get, the guy has to kiss him. But
All right.
then he says that every tile put down, he has to kiss Casey. So we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll let the fans decide.
If I'm
Ultimately,
wrong, I'll say I'm wrong
yeah,
because
I know you will. That's what I love about Casey, and that's why I can do this show with him. I mean, he may get mad, but he's going to give you what actually happened. And I know people out there in the chat seem to have uh, they don't understand that when you're with a guy like this, it's hard to come out and tell people. Casey put it on national television, showing the guy that he hooked up with, and
yeah, that
that's
was
courageous to do.
yeah, it was uncomfortable because you know, like to have the person like that's something you want to forget, and it's a mistake that you made, and it's one of the most embarrassing things, But at the same time, hey, you got to own it, or else you're really not being true to yourself. I believe you got to take the you got to roll with the punches, right? Tyler Durton, KC, did you get to meet Eric the actor? I did, Tyler, and he was a big friend of my old boss who I spent like every day with, Johnny Fratto. Mr. Vince, were you a fan of Eric the actor or my old um, boss who I loved, Mr. Johnny Fratto?
Yeah, you don't know me that well, but I'm a huge fan of Eric Sean Lynch, aka Eric the actor, and I have worked with Johnny Fratto on a few things. So
Oh,
yes,
for real?
for both.
You worked with Johnny on stuff?
Yeah, a few things
Oh, we
on
got a
a
lot.
on a legal level, but nothing Stern related. Yes, and Eric the actor, as people that know me from Shuli's show, was my number one favorite whack packer
He's your favorite?
by far. I've done so much uh, research and history on Eric, and we have a series on Eric the actor. Eric
Oh
the
my
actor's
god!
yeah, he's my favorite whack packer
Even
of
more
all
than
time
Beetlejuice or Crackhead Bob?
by far. I love Eric the actor. Loved Eric the actor. 3/11 is his birthday, so I celebrate that every year.
Oh my god!
Yeah, Eric Sean Lynch, one of the best little people to ever live on this earth. I love him.
God, that's
Uh,
cool, man.
the
That's
fact
cool.
that he would give shit to Howard is one of the best things. I loved it.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. I don't think he liked me, but until we were doing a comedy show in San Francisco, I think that horrible shithole of a city. Sorry, not the people that live there, but it's really gone downhill, and that's true. But they didn't have the wheelchair for him to get in, so he was sitting. He was just outside. Like, how are we gonna do this? I'm like, um, it was me, and I think I grabbed. There was some big dude and waiting online. Like, we can do this. Let's go grab. So, Erica, is it okay if we pick you up and bring you up there? That fucking chair must have weighed like 300 or 400 pounds. I'm telling you, man. But we got him in fine, and um, he was very appreciative of it because he didn't want anybody fucking helping him or doing anything like that. But for some reason, he did appreciate it, and I was glad that I got to help him. And then I guess we were friends since then.
Yeah, actually, we had his handler Jan Janssen on the show one time to do because we had the series going and we're still going, but it's kind of taking an intermission now because we're waiting for Jan to get back. Did you ever meet Jan Janssen, his handler?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a guy that was paid to stay with him is one of his friends from high school. Because like actually, we're working to get Darlene on the first or second episode of our show because it's good to have that third opinion in because
Arlene.
yeah, the guy you hooked up with. It's good to have that third
Oh
opinion.
God. Okay.
I mean, if we get him to come in and to speak about like his life and hooking up with you, I mean, that will add a lot of insight to the.
Yeah, well, all right. I'm with you. Kudos for putting the energy and uh putting the effort in. I can tell I'm with the right guy.
Yeah. So as we wrap this up, I mean, I'm excited to get this thing going. I had started with Julie. I mean, obviously, I'm still working with Julie. I speak with Julie, Carl, and sometimes you on text every day. It's good to speak amongst comedians because we can joke about different things. But ultimately, I think this is going to be it's going to be fun and it's going to be insightful for Stern fans that are still out there, and I know they're still out there. And we're not going to take this really so much on different tangents. We're going to stick to the Stern Show and obviously some current events as well.
Okay. Vince, I want to thank you very much for coming on and for the great questions. Some tough questions and some that I push back on, and I always will, and I expect you to as well. But I am excited for the show coming up. And most of all, I want to thank the chat, everyone who came in to hang with us. And I hope that you come back. Artie's coming in next week. Me and Vince are going to do our first show recorded tomorrow. And I believe we're looking for it to come out on Monday. Am I right, Vince?
You're right. Can you just tell me something while we're live
Sure.
here?
Sure.
What is your daily schedule like? First, what time do you generally wake up at?
9:30, 10.
Okay, because the reason why I'm letting the fans know, I mean, I text KC because I'm ready at 8:30, 9
I
o'clock.
hate the morning.
Yeah, like I want to film and I want to get our shows rolling, and I don't hear text back until 4 or 5 o'clock, and then in the afternoon, and I just don't know what you're
Yeah,
doing during the
I
day.
segment the day. I run a, WMAP, and that's what pays my bills most of all. So that is usually done um, around 2 or 3.
What are you talking? Tyler Durden gave you $5 right there. That's what pays your bills.
No, that's very nice of Tyler to do that. But what am I going to do? No, 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 no. I have a real job.
Oh, by the
Um,
way, what was the final number at the strip club that you think you made, or if it was zero,
the
then
strip club,
zero?
I didn't make anything.
Like zero. They said here's here.
I had to pay a I had to pay a bill that some people thought that was let's just say it was a wash.
No, I don't want to just say that's the miscommunication that you were referencing in your other show. And I'm like, KC, tell us what it is. That's the interesting
Well,
part.
no, there was a lot of people there, and some people I guess thought that they were getting like their drinks and all that stuff was
Like
getting
top shelf liquor for free.
or not that or whatever they thought that it was free. Anyone would have thought that, and it's fine. It's completely fine.
Well, I
So,
know, I know you're fine, but like, so people thought they were drinking and they weren't paying for it.
but then that comes back because I'm the one that's responsible for it.
So,
Um,
so how
but
much did you have to pay?
nobody did it out of malice or anything.
No, I
It was me
totally get
because
that.
I wasn't. I didn't explain it. I guess enough because it was thrown together at the last minute. It was like,
That
but
happens. Sometimes
nobody did
people,
anything wrong,
yeah, like
and
sometimes
it
people
was a decent place.
drink regular drinks and they drink top shelf liquor, and then you have to actually end up paying. So, what did you have to end up paying to strip club?
It wasn't. It
How
wasn't.
much?
I don't know, maybe $100 or something. I don't know. Sean Tracks, $5. Casey, enjoy your show, Casey. You seem like a great friend. Now, thank you, Sean. I like to treat people the way I would like to be treated, and if I don't, then I get very upset and I get hurt. I'm joking. Yeah, no, Vince. Yeah, no, that was. Um, it was that, and then my phone ran out of battery, and there was no Ubers around. It was a clusterfuck, dude. I didn't get home until like 5, and I'm like, man, I could have just went home after the show. I probably would have made a couple bucks.
Where did Anthony Cumia sleep that night?
We slept at the same hotel, same room.
Oh, which
I
hotel?
didn't. I by the time I got back, we were leaving
See,
because I didn't have a phone, and there was no Ubers, so it was a clusterfuck. But it
so for the
happened.
fans, like back in the green room, I'm looking around. There's probably like 20 people there, but obviously Anthony Cumia, there's Casey. You recognize High Pitch and that wacko Perry.
What are we
Uh,
talking about?
we're talking about the show,
That's it.
the Shuley
Where?
show, Shuley show green room
Oh.
in Pottstown. But it's interesting to see the dynamic because I mean I know Anthony Cumia's got his house listed for $3.5 million. I know most of the people in this green room don't even have $3. So when for some reason I asked Shuley, I'm like, did Cumia ask you for money? He said no, but we paid him, which I always thought was a little weird that they were paying Cumia money, knowing the
Well, he
big.
came. He did stand up, so of course they gotta pay him. And I don't get involved in any of that shit. If it's not my money, I don't count other people's money. I don't want to know, and it's none of my business. I can just
Yeah,
be
I'm a big
me.
Yenta. I'm worse than John. Like, I just want to know what the dynamic is because I don't know who the hell's making any money here. But it was just interesting to
All I
see.
know is how much I made.
Yeah, I heard it was $200. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, I like I told
Well,
you, what I did was I went out there for promotion and to meet these people, and I'm glad I did.
I agree. And like, actually, the weird thing is in life, like, we wouldn't have actually hooked up for our show if we didn't actually meet at that and
That's what I'm
actually
saying, man.
solidified it. Yeah.
The
Uh,
universe has a way of working itself out. Like, when you say things and you think that you're safe and you can say whatever you want or don't say whatever you want. If you appreciate someone and they somehow um, you lose them and you wish you had always said something nice about them, it works both ways. The universe will always put you in touch or not. Case,
yeah.
are you stupid? Yes, I am. Sorry. Tyler, you are a nice person, but you didn't say anything, Tyler. Did you see the movie that Tyler was in?
No, what movie was it?
Uh, Fight Club. Tyler was in Fight Club.
Okay. That's a good movie.
I would get Coach out. Where is he? He's over there.
So you text me, just lastly, you text me while I was benching today or
Yeah, you
yesterday.
would bet you would put on some weight there, buddy.
Yesterday, you said that something happened with the audio with the coach. What happened?
Oh yeah, Coach. Wednesday's usually Casey and a coach, and I sent him the link a bunch of times. He's supposed to come on because he's a bright guy. You'd love him. He coached at Tennessee State. He's a Marine. He coached, I believe, at Hampton. Um, he coached like 10, 12 different D1 colleges,
Is he
and
black?
yeah, he's a black guy.
Yeah, because Hampton's a black school. I love they call it black school. Sometimes there's a few white kids there, but
Yeah, he went to North Carolina A&T. He
there's
played
another
for
black school. Yeah,
that's in that SWAC with Grambling. That's good football.
a great
Uh,
football.
in that, I know Buffalo. Um, you don't play too. Do you ever play any
General,
Ivy schools?
sometimes, but we're in the MAC now,
The MAC.
MAC. Yeah, so
Buffalo's good football, man.
we're all right now. I mean, we weren't that great when I was there. But back to the coach. I mean, you said there was issues with the coach, and I'm
Yeah, I
trying to.
couldn't get him on, man. So after like a half hour, like, you know, I sent it to him like 8 times, and usually it's okay, but it was just one of those things that when things go wrong, they go wrong. But a good thing did happen. I finally confirmed Artie, which is awesome because people are going to hear about Artie. And not only that, I was just glad to hear from my friend because, man, I always worry about that guy.
How did you hear from him?
I check in every once in a while with him because I have 50 different numbers for him.
Did you call
And
him or he call you?
I sent a text like I do, maybe once a year. And one of them came back, and it was a fan just being a dick. So I was like, "That sucks." But then 2 days later, I go, "All right." I asked him a question that only he would know. I asked him, what this alias person was.
What'd you
Blah,
ask him?
blah. No, I'm not going to get. I'm not going to go into that because it's the only way that I know that it's really him. So
Like, what's your favorite brand of heroin or something like that?
Vince. Um,
Well, you won't tell us the real. What's the big deal?
no, no, no.
What'd you ask him?
It's a way for me to find out that I'm actually talking to him and not getting screwed by someone who just wants to waste my time, which I fucking hate. Anyway, so he goes, "Yeah." I talked to him about coming on. He goes, "I can't do it this week, but I'll do it next week." He's sober, and I'm just so excited to talk to him.
Yeah, I
He's a
don't know.
great guy.
Like,
Have you ever met him?
I've met him. That sounds like a blow off to me, like a typical
Not a
arty
blow off.
blow.
I know him. Why would you say it's a blow off?
It just sounds like a typical arty slash drug addict, bro. Not to say that he's high right now, but
No, no, no. I
nah.
got you on that one.
Look, prove me wrong. That's all. You only
Yeah,
have to
no,
prove
I
me
got
wrong,
you. I got you. No,
and we'll see, Artie.
you're entitled to your opinion.
Hey, you know what though? Like, technically, we don't know if that was Artie. It's just text, but at
No, I
least
do know it was Artie because there's no one else in the world that would know the person. It was an exact person. He had to give me an exact name that only I would know and that he would know. So it is him. And
who was the
otherwise, I
person?
wouldn't say anything because I don't look like an asshole.
Yeah, like who is the person though? You said like, do you know this specific person?
Dude, I'm just telling you that this is a code word that the only way I can know that it's him. You think I'm going to give that out?
I
Come
mean,
on, Vince.
I don't think it probably would be interesting to people what the hell the code word
I'll
is.
ask him when he comes on. Hey, do you want to give out
Yeah, Artie
the
wouldn't care. He'll
name?
give it right out. He doesn't give a fuck.
Vince, I'll say Vince wants to know if you'll give out your secret name. That okay, I've said enough. Let's go to I Look '05. Thoughts on Riley Martin. What do you think of Riley Martin, Mr. Vince?
Well, he was obviously he had mental issues, and I wasn't a huge fan of him at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
Not that he was ever mean to me or
right.
disparaging to me, but just not my style, not my thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. Me too. I didn't find him very interesting. Um, but good question. Thanks, bud. Um, WATP Kevin. I don't know if that's really him, but Casey, why is your shoulder so messed up, and why do you burp? I don't know, buddy. My shoulder has happened. This has happened 3 times in the past 5 years, and it's Did you ever get a? Yes, that's it, Vince. Vince, have you ever had a what they call a stinger in football?
Yes.
For people who don't know, a stinger is when it doesn't happen really in high school very much, but when you play at the level that Vince did and that I did, when you got to go on a 260-pound man is running as fast as he can towards you, and you have to hit him with your shoulder, something in the nerve kind of separates, and it runs all the way down your arm into your fingers, and they call that a stinger, and it hurts like a motherfucker. So I've this one hasn't gone away in 3 weeks.
The Bloomin' Onion was the one who was saying your shoulder hurts. He's making funny that you kept saying, and also like that it looks like you're burping and shitting at the same time, and like you're making these faces. I don't know if that.
Well, I mean that guy's really funny. I mean, what he just said, that's hilarious, Vince. I can't believe that he doesn't have um, more action that he does. What a funny guy. Surprised that he didn't make it. My God. Let's see who else we got there. Guys, oh, I got to do. Who's this? This is hi, Sean. Enjoy your show, KC. You seem like great. No, we did that. But thank you, Sean. That's nice of you. Oh, this one here. Mean Gene in Pennsylvania. All the best, boys. You deserve success, Casey. Thank you for doing the show for us. Mean Gene, you're awesome. Pennsylvania is awesome. Vince, I was born in East Stroudsburg in Pennsylvania.
East Stroudsburg was the location where Casey was forced to go to summer camp with his dad every summer.
My family made a living at the wrestling camp.
Now,
That's what they
I
did.
coincidentally, I went to the same wrestling camp. We found that out, but part of Casey's issues may be having to lose his summers and work for his dad in summer camp in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
No, it wasn't. It was the counselor that made me play gay chicken nude.
Is that true?
Yes. No. We got. I just had one more there. The green. No, I did that one. Okay, man. So I want to thank everyone. My special guest, Mr. Vince. Vince, please, anything you want to say? People get a hold of you. You got the floor. My grandmother used to say when she wanted to hear from me, Casey, you got the floor. Vince, you got the floor.
The few channels that I'm working with right now are Eli, the People's Guy. He's a guy that walks around Manhattan doing these audits, the First Amendment audits. But the cool thing about Eli is he's about a 6'3" Puerto Rican dude. And unlike probably you and I, he's willing to fight. If you actually challenge him to a fight, he'll put his camera down, he'll square up, and he'll fight you. And there's nothing I love more than watching white people
Oh,
shake. You know, when you talk
oh,
shit
that's
to these
funny.
guys, he's ready to fight. Like all these other First Amendment guys are generally little nerds. Eli is the man. I mean, if you go to Eli, the People's Guy, you're going to see fights that you would not believe. I mean,
That's
they're
awesome.
construction guys pulling out knives on Eli. Eli just come out of jail a few months ago after doing 9 months, but he is the People's Guy and working on that channel. Then we have a larger channel that we love. It's Gas Station Encounters. Is a channel where we record people stealing stuff from a gas station in Ohio, and it's taken off, and that's the beauty of America, where a gas station making a few dollars a year has over 1 million subscribers, and they're doing well. So those two right now, Eli the People's Guy and Gas Station Encounters.
Dude, that's so awesome. And you got so much stuff going for you. I mean, you're like if this was like game shows, you'd be like Milton Bradley, you know? You got
Yeah,
so much going on.
and just for the fans, like I started out, my first connection to the Stern Show was through one of the people that work for Howard 101 News, and then I've represented at least 7 or 8 of the people that have been on the show. Then I had a show for Hypogeric that was a live streaming show 24/7.
That's hilarious.
In 2017 through 2019, we've been featured on Howard's show a bunch of times. So that's my connection to the show, and that's what's lead us to you and I connecting up.
It's really a funny show. People, if you have time, go and watch the Habitat because it is a Pulitzer. That is so you see Eric in I love the funniest thing. It's just because I'm retarded and like the nonsense and I'm so childish. But what Vince does is when Eric is eating his breakfast, Vince will make the chewing sound, and if he drinks like coffee or something like that, he'll go. It's so fucking funny. I mean, if you're juvenile and childish like me, but Vince, look forward to everything. And
Yeah. So just to let everyone know, we're supposed to film tomorrow at 6 o'clock, the first episode. Again, when Casey hooks up with the guy, and I want it to be posted by Monday, and I want to get the show moving. So we're going to be reviewing most of the times Casey was featured on the Howard Stern Show. But look forward for episode 1 coming Monday on KCTV, or otherwise known as Casey Armstrong's YouTube channel.
Isn't it great the way he has to put like the first episode? It's where Casey hooks up with a guy, and he just has to say it. Hey, that's what it is. What it is. So let me thank the chat. Let me thank everybody for coming on. I really appreciate you. I appreciate my cohort and my buddy Vince. Look forward to how this goes, and I look forward to our first episode coming. And I'll see you guys soon. Vince, thanks again, and good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.